In church on Sunday, we sang a 200-some-odd-year-old hymn, Franz Joseph Haydn, with some contemporary words. And the words go, God, you spin the whirling planets, fill the seas and spread the plain, mold the mountains, fashion blossoms, call for the sunshine, wind, and rain. Now, the scientists wouldn't have put it that way. The scientists would have said there is an explanation for why the planets swirl, for why the rain falls, for why the seas rise, for why the mountains form. But knowledge isn't enough for us. It's not enough to know how these things happen. We need the poetry, don't we? Are we hardwired to seek that kind of meaning in life that only poetry, religion, and writing can give us?
Okay. Probably so, because we are a symbol-making creature. We seem to need, create, and exist within structures of symbolism of one kind or another. We seem always to have done that as human beings. We usually date humanness from the point at which we discover some form of art. Art is always symbolic. Okay, so we've even found Neanderthal graves. There's argument about this, but some people say, okay, this was a like us burial. That is, people put flowers in it, they put implements. It was a burial that indicated that people who did this thought the soul was going somewhere else. And that is part of a symbolic structure in which the visible world is only part of reality. It's very interesting to talk to people about dreams and experiences they may have had. And if you tell me your dream, that is an experience you have had that is part of the invisible world. I can't see you having that dream. I can't prove that you had it. I've only got your say-so. And I can't then tell you, no, you didn't have that dream. No, that wasn't real. You didn't have that dream. It's an experience that you had. It says nothing about whether there is a material reality attached to that. And they can have a profound influence on you. They can alter how you're seeing life.
Are you suggesting that in the same way that the dream is a reality that we cannot measure and cannot prove, except that our experience of it confirms it for us, that religious language, the language of the Bible, is also symbolic of a reality that we do not
Some
apprehend?
of it is.
Some of it.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag, as you know.
The Bible.
Yeah, because the Bible is what it is. That is, it's self-contradictory, it's very mixed literary modes, it changes as you go through the Bible, the point of view changes, the way God is perceived changes. It has been very schismatic. That is, people will take a bit of the Bible, build religion on that, more or less ignore the rest, or say the rest doesn't matter. And there are all kinds of groups like that that have differentiated themselves once the Catholic Church split at the time of the Reformation. There were an infinite number, or a large number of other splits. So little groups have pulled off and developed their own theology, really, based on certain passages in the Bible. So you can say the Christians, but you can't make a generalization about that group called the Christians, except that they all seem to have something to do with this figure called Jesus of Nazareth, and they seem to have something to do with the New Testament. But which parts of it is the question. There are some so-called Christians who do nothing but think about the book of Revelations with great delight, contemplating the future spectacle of everybody frying to death except them.
The rapture.
Yeah, well, the rapture, in the rapture, it never happens to be you who doesn't get raptured.
What does the rapture say about religion and the imagination?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a heretical belief. The rapture idea, which seems to consist mostly of fun on a cloud while other people suffer, that, I think, is just opening the door to some of the worst impulses in human nature, which
How do you explain it?
Revenge and gloating. Well, we have a great capacity as human beings for being for being self-righteous and judgmental about other people, despite the admonition, judge not lest ye be judged. We do judge, and some people take it to an extreme.
If you were asked to design a new human being as an improvement on the current model, would you eliminate the hunger for God?
Well, that's a very good question. I think the answer is, could you eliminate such a thing? It has been tried. It has been tried. It wasn't much of an improvement, as I recall.
Where?
Well, Soviet Socialist Union, replaced the Christian Western structure with its own, which is in fact another version of it. It didn't seem to be that much of an improvement. So I don't think it's a question of God or not God, or religion or not religion. It's what people do with their belief system, how they use that belief system, whether they use it to really improve things for other people, or whether they use it to tyrannize over other people.
So I come back to the question, if you could design a new human being, improving on the present model, would you eliminate the hunger for God?
I could not eliminate the hunger for God without eliminating language. I might, however, eliminate the desire to use God as a weapon. In other words, if I could, I would confine the hunger for God to the personal realm, so that it would not become something that people use to bash other people with.
Does that mean you take your stand on the side of faith?
No. No, having been raised a strict agnostic.
A strict agnostic?
A strict agnostic.
Not an atheist?
No.
What's the difference?
Atheism is a religion.
Atheism is a religion?
Absolutely.
You mean it's dogmatic?
Absolutely dogmatic.
How so?
Well, it makes an absolute stand about something that cannot be proven.
There is no God.
You can't prove that.
So you become, what's a strict agnostic?
A strict agnostic says you cannot pronounce as knowledge anything you cannot demonstrate. In other words, if you're going to call it knowledge, you have to be able to run an experiment on it that's repeatable. You can't run an experiment on whether God exists or not. Therefore, you can't say anything about it as knowledge. You can have a belief if you want to, or if that is what grabs you, if you are called in that direction, if you have a subjective experience of that kind, that will be your belief system. You just can't call it knowledge.
When you were growing up reading the Bible regularly, what did the word God mean to you?
Well, now, it's a very nebulous word. God, in the Bible even, changes the way he appears, changes the way he interacts with human beings, appears in a number of different forms: burning bush, chariot of fire, back parts as seen by Moses, walking in the garden with Adam, Ancient of Days later on, still small voice saying Samuel. You know, sometimes he's heard, sometimes you never actually see an old man with a beard floating in the clouds. Not in the Bible. Nobody says anything about that. Dove descending, spirit descending. Never an old man with a beard in the clouds. So where did we get that? Well, we probably got it from Zeus, the old Greek god. That picture, that portrayal of God as an old man with a beard in the clouds is a lot like the Greek and Roman sculptures of Zeus, who was given, or Jupiter, who was given a beard to show his seniority.
Right.
Okay. So Blake used to used to say that there was God, which was the real God, and then there was this other person called Nobodaddy. Nobodaddy, which is the false picture of God that human beings create for themselves. Okay, so the false picture of God seems to be the one that a lot of people believe in. Instead of believing in the living spirit, they believe in a tyrannical, angry person who's going to squash you, basically. So they believe in a series of rules and restrictions imposed by Nobodaddy because they have a desire for rules and restrictions.